Hi there, Colin Gwynn here with DJI, and in this video, we're going to go through a quick walkthrough of each of the flight modes of the Wookong-M. There's 3 flight modes: manual, attitude, and GPS attitude. So let's look at each one of those in a little bit more depth. First, manual mode, which should only be accessed and flown by somebody who can competently fly a remote control helicopter without a stabilization system. Basically, the Wookong-M autopilot is not doing much of any stabilization at all. It is simply controlling the yaw or rotation of the multirotor, similar to a tail gyro on a remote control helicopter. Other than that, if you tell it to go forward and keep telling it to go forward, it's simply gonna tip over and crash into the ground. Same thing with going to the right or to the left. It's just gonna go where you tell it to go, and it's gonna be a one-to-one stick command, so the sticks are much more sensitive. There's no interpreting what you mean by, if I say go all the way forward in certain modes, it's gonna say, okay, I'm gonna go all the way forward at a certain rate. But in manual mode, it's just gonna do what you tell it to do, and it's very easy to crash. If you tell it to keep going forward, it's gonna go forward until it hits the ground. So please only fly in this mode if you are an experienced remote control helicopter pilot. Now, the second mode is attitude mode. What attitude mode does is use the inertial measurement unit to maintain a level attitude of the multirotor. So if you're not giving any stick input on your elevator or aileron, it's going to level the aircraft. So if I want to fly forward, I can give forward elevator command, and it will tilt forward, but only to a certain degree to fly forward. Now, as soon as I let go of that stick and let it center, it's going to level its attitude, but since it's not using GPS to maintain its position, it's going to allow the multirotor to slide forward or slide back or be blown by the wind. All it's going to do is maintain a level attitude when you're not giving command. It's also going to somewhat interpret what you mean by increasing altitude or going left, right, forward, or back. So if you give full throttle in attitude mode, it's simply going to increase in altitude by the maximum rate of ascent in the autopilot. Versus if you're in manual mode and you give it full throttle, it's gonna shoot up like a rocket. So when you give it full throttle in attitude mode or GPS attitude mode, it's not necessarily sending full throttle commands to the motors, it's just saying ascend at the maximum rate of ascent that's set in the autopilot. So the last mode is GPS attitude mode. So it's gonna fly much in the same way as attitude mode does, but it actually uses GPS to maintain a heading, to maintain its position in space. So it's going to maintain its position in space until you tell it to go somewhere else. So in GPS mode, when you tell it to go forward and then let go of the stick, it's actually going to apply some brake so that it stops quickly and then hovers in the position that you told it to stop in. In addition to that, if there's any type of wind, it will actually fight that wind by making necessary attitude changes to the multirotor so that it maintains its position in space. It should maintain a position of about a 6-foot cubed space, or a 2-meter cube. Manual mode should probably be only used if you really want to have a challenging flying experience. Attitude versus GPS attitude can be used for things like if you're flying indoors and you know you don't have any GPS reception, you'll want to be in attitude mode. If there's not too much wind and you want to make real fine adjustments and fly a complicated path for getting maybe an aerial photography shot, you may want to use attitude. An example for using GPS mode would be if you want to hover right over a certain location doing a look down shot and you want to pull straight up, GPS mode is a good idea for that because it's going to maintain its position laterally and forward and back while you raise up. So different shots necessitate different modes, and different modes can come in handy in different situations, but it's a good idea to know what each mode does, and hopefully this video helps you guys understand that a little bit better. And in the next video, we're gonna do a test flight to see how she flies. See you guys then.